We're live.
All right, welcome to our weekly New Gambia platform talk show. Today is May 15, 2022. Our topic of discussion today would be mobile data, the high cost of mobile data, high cost of traveling, and also we're going to talk about economics sustainability of third world countries. As we can see nowadays, cost of mobile data is getting more and more expensive, and then we need to do something about it. What are the issue, causing that, and how these problems, need to be tackled so that people can afford the cost of, cost of data. So I have my partner here, my co-host, Sam Sise from Indiana, and some of our co-hosts are not around today. Maybe they will join us later, but I'm your host here in New York. Welcome. Yeah, Sam.
Yes.
So let's jump right into it. I'll let you speak, and then I will ask questions. If I had to make some comment as well, I will do that as we get along. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. What do you think is the issue? We are seeing a lot of complaints about cost of mobile data. It's not affordable. People have to turn their phones off in order to save data. And then even this show that we do here, sometimes people, they have to wait until we're done and they watch it on YouTube and other places. It's very difficult. You know how the Gambia economic situation is. Average people, they cannot even afford food. Talk about this kind of the expenses, additional, I will not say luxury is a need to have a phone, but people cannot like use the internet or use things on their phone that they would love to. So what do you think is the issue, and how can we mitigate it? How can the government or the people as a whole or private entities help us maintain it?
Yep. Sawani, thank you, and definitely good seeing you today as well. And in every country, I know what we are facing in the world today, economic crisis and things like that. But the GSM companies in the Gambia, the mobile data issue in Gambia is not something that came with Ukraine war. It's something that's been there for a long time, and we need to look at our government, what our government is doing about this, because back in Jammeh's time, the government established an institution called PURA. If I remember correctly, the definition for PURA is Public Utility Regulatory Authority, something like that, along that line. PURA is in Gambia. But before I go to PURA, this is something really our own Gamtel should have been the leader in this, leading industry in technology and bringing telecommunication to the country. We have an established company, institution called Gamtel already. Gamtel really should have taken the role in this. And I'm not sure why the government is allowing GSM companies coming in and doing what they are doing there, giving them contracts and things like that, which is fine, because competition and everything is always important to have competition so that it will impact prices and hopefully decrease the prices for the competitors. I mean, for the consumers, not competitors, for the consumers. If you think about it, in my analysis of this, I think Gamtel is the institution that our government really need to rely on in doing the competitive survey in the sub-region, get the right people with the technology, the technocrats and the people that can make a very strong, end up in Jawara's time, back in the days. Gamtel, when Gamtel was established, was one of the best in that sub-region in Africa. They were one of the best. We had one of the best telecommunication system in that region. And today, we are one of those paying the most. If you look at neighboring countries, now Senegal, and all the neighboring countries, They seem to have a better deal than we do. Part of the reason is Gamtel is not as involved as they should be, and they should be the branch that really have, like I said, do a research into this and have proper telecommunication system for Gambia, for Gambians to rely on. So if we have that from our own institution, we won't have to worry about the external ones. Now, going back to Jammeh's time, PURA was established to regulate the prices, regulate all of these utilities, including telecommunication and a lot of things that was involved in PURA. You know, I've once discussed about this in my group, and in Solutions for Gambia, I've talked about PURA very well, and even the need to dissolve them because they're not functioning the way they should function. So I suggested and I recommended PURA to be dissolved and reestablished with the right people and the right mindset, the right technology, and the right technocrats that are going to do their job. And part of doing their job, you know, is to really do a survey. If you're in a business like that, you need to survey what your competitors are doing. Look at what is Senegal doing? What is the neighboring Guineas, like Conakry and Bissau, Nigeria, going to Ghana and Sierra Leone. Look at all those countries. What are they doing? Are they better than us? If so, yes, what are they doing different that made them better than us? How much are they charging? Look at all of that. You always, when you're in business in something like this, you always have to do competitive price survey. You always, every 6 months, you need to look at what your competitors are doing. How are they doing it? What do they have that we don't have? Then you think along that line and try to bring the same thing so that we can be competitive. We don't have to be the highest. We shouldn't be paying the highest. We don't have to be the lowest, but be competitive and be along with the people. Move with technology, move with the century, move with everything, and not sit back and let yourself fall behind. And that's what happened in Gambia. We sat back and Senegal came and really passed us. They've done, and I heard in Senegal, the megabytes and what the people buy in credits is a lot cheaper for Senegalese in Senegal than Gambia. You know, why do we have that? Why did that happen? What was PURA doing? You know, these are all part of the job to make sure that our utilities, our telecommunication, all of these are regulated accordingly and not allow any GSM company to rip Gambians off. You know, there's AfriCell there's QCell, there are, I don't know, Comion, and there's another one, I don't remember. And then, of course, we have our own Gamcell. So PURA should be regulating these to make sure that people get what they deserve, to make sure that consumer protection law is in effect, to make sure that the consumers are protected in what they spend, in the money that they spend on telecommunication. And establish guidelines, but also follow their guidelines and hold these companies accountable for that, and making sure that they stick to the guidelines. If they have done that part, if they've done their job, we wouldn't be paying what we're paying in Gambia. Gambians will not be suffering the way they are today. Is because PURA didn't function. So at the end of the day, my blame would be the government has a role to play with Gamtel. PURA has a big role to play in this by not regulating accordingly and not being competitive, not allowing these GSM companies to be competitive and also offer the best service to people. They need to be looking at this and see what they're charging. And PURA also need to go outside of the box by creating what I once said also, by creating some kind of a mystery shop program where they send unknown people to the public to these places to go buy credit and see what happened to their credit. Are their credits disappearing? And what kind of service do you get from these people? Are they nice to you? Are they rude to you? Or what do you do when you buy credits in from these GSM companies? PURA need to be looking at all of those and create ways to make it easy for people. And that's where they fail. So the solution will be dissolve PURA, reestablish it with new guidelines, new laws for all these GSM companies, but let Gamtel take a lead to help Gambia. That's the way we need to go. Gamtel should do their part to help Gambia so we're not relying on AfriCell and QSL to do what they need to do for Gambia, because they are there to make profit, and they want to make profit. Any way they can to make more profit, they will. And that is at the cost, a heavy price for the consumers, which is not right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam, for that insight. It appears that you think Puro is the key solution to this, but however, does this the issue of having the megabyte cassette going up, does it have to do with like some kind of domination of dominancy in the way the services are provided, or is there like have they given a market share or market ability to other GMS companies? Because usually when you have an open market where everybody can compete, the prices goes down. When you have more supplies, the demands goes down.
Yep.
When you have more demands, the supplies goes. The supplies it's like demand and supply. So do you think the GSM companies we need to have more in order for for them to compete for the same market? Or do you think because we don't have more, that's what's causing this rise in data?
Yeah, it can go both ways. It can go both ways. And here is the reason. If we only have AfriCell, GamCell, QCell, Commune, and I don't know whoever else, and Pura cannot regulate those few that we have, think about if they open the door for more. Are they going to be able to regulate, or are they going to allow them to do whatever they want and continue to skyrocket? That's the part to look at. The other part is, yes, it is always important to have more competition. They should open the doors and allow more people. If our government doesn't make it difficult for Gambians, especially to come and operate businesses like that, if they make licensing very difficult for people to do, they are driving those businesses away. And these could be Gambians. There could be Gambians that want to get into this kind of business, and they will be deprived from really operating in Gambia just by allowing these few to operate there and ripping people off, if you would. So the more competition we have, the better the prices will be, and the better for the consumers. Because if you have 10 different companies, 10 may be too many, let's say 7, 8 different companies that are providing the same service, but there is some kind of regulation that is going to hold them accountable. They can't go above this much. They can make profit. The profit needs to really be a reasonable profit, not double profiting. When Pura regulates them and allow that to happen, then there will be a stable market in this field, and the competition will be there. The competition will be who is going to provide the best service, knowing that the prices are going to be the same. You see what I mean? When prices are the same, if AfriCell charge $1 for 1 megabyte, for example, competition, and QCell and Commune, GamCell, if they all charge the same price for the same megabytes, now the competition is going to be who is going to provide the better service, who can provide a service that you can have the same service you can have in Serekunda, you can have it in Woolly, okay? Same service that you have in Farfenni, that same service you can go to Gunjur, all the way to the end, from Khartoum to Konya, and have the same thing. If you can have the same thing everywhere, then people don't need to carry 2 different cell phones and 3 different cell phones in Gambia. People are doing that. It's because one has a better area than the other. It needs to be a clean playing field for consumers, and for them to be able to do that. But right now, they're conditioning Gambians to buy more cell phones. Buy more cell phones. You have one carrier with AfriCell, you have another one with QCell, then you have another one that only works with Commune. And for them to be able, so this is look at look at the rest of the world. That doesn't happen very often. For people to carry different cell phones is because of the providers are not providing what people need. So this
I
is
think
where.
I was thinking maybe the reason for carrying different cell phone was because people wanna, kind of mask their identity or probably use one for another thing. Even though they complain about, I forget, we complain about money. We don't have money, send us money here. But now they have two cell phones that we cannot even afford. I mean, that's kind of strange, right? But is it out of luxury or just because they?
Well, there are people that are doing it for certain reasons. There are people that want to hide something, and that's their choice. And they want to do that. They want to have two different cell phones. They
Maybe
will
one for their girlfriends or one for their
whatever their reasons are. But
let's hit the nail on the head.
That could be a reason, but that may not be the main reason. I think the main reason is you can only have Afri-Cell service in certain areas, and you can only have Q-Cell services in certain areas. If you go to certain areas, only Q-Cell network works there, not Afri-Cell. That will be the main reason. Yes, you'll have individuals that will have their choice, having 2 or 3 different cell phones because you will only give this other number to so and so.
Yeah, I can imagine even like paying attention on one cell phone than having 3 cell phones. That man, I need to hire a secretary or something in order to do that.
Well, yep, it all depends on how many calls you have, but people do it also for certain reasons. Like I said, individual reasons, and people that want to hide.
So you think people are doing it because of perhaps the services is not the
network provider. Yeah, the network provider is not covering everywhere.
Okay,
that is their problem. They don't have the same network everywhere. So just like I said, there's certain areas you can only a certain type of phone, only a certain provider works there. The other one doesn't work there. So and that is the main problem. So that's why PURA need to regulate them and say, hey, if you're charging people this much, you also need to provide the service, give them the better service, and create a competition for them. Who is going to be that one carrier that can serve all of Gambia? If you're collecting millions from people, why don't you put that millions back into works and create more networks in rural part of Gambia? It will make sense. That way you can have more business in there. So you're not causing, if you think about it, if I own Afri-Cell, for example, and I'm collecting all these millions, I should be thinking, well, I need to be able to expand my network to different areas so I can have more business. It should work that way. But sometimes this telecommunication could be something. I know even in the United States, we have different companies, but it doesn't matter. I'm in Indiana, in the state of Indiana, and I have AT&T, so, but you could have any phone carrier here and you can communicate with someone in California. It doesn't matter. I'm not comparing them, but I want the better service for our people in Gambia. So they need to think along that line, and the government need to open the doors for people to apply for license and create that so they can bring that competition in the country and force Afri-Cell and Q-Cell to drop their prices, because there's another competition that is going to offer service. So that's why I said the more competition we have, the better for the consumers, but may not necessarily be better for them. The only way it can be better for them is it becomes that competition. Who is going to provide the better service? A lot of people are and a lot of companies are operating, especially in Gambia and African countries, that really don't know what customer service is about. They're in business to make money, but they don't know what service is about. Companies that really know what customer service is about are the ones that are going to gain loyal customers and repeat business over and over. And also the companies that makes other consumers leave the other companies and come join them because of their service. Service is what they need to pay attention to. That is the key focus. If you focus on service, the service that you deliver, the profit comes along with it. But if you focus on profit, well, profit should always be the result of running a good business. Because if you go to business just to make profit, you're going to get greedy and you're going to fail. At some point, you'll see your own downfall. People should go to business to serve the customers, serve the consumers, provide that excellent service for our customers, and results of that will give you a profit.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that, Sam. So it came, a news broke out saying that Gambia ranks number 8 among the most expensive mobile data in the Gambia, in Africa. And it says that the Business Insiders of Africa has said that according to the statistics, about 400 according to the statistics, about 400 million Africans currently have access to mobile internet. These 400 million people buy data either daily, weekly, or monthly, and then this is what they use to communicate, especially with the people in diaspora.
Yep.
And then the cost of this data, according to this research, is that in Gambia, so one of the megabyte costs as much as $49.67, followed by Sao, Seo, Tom, and the the principal. So in Malawi is about $25, and let's see, with Gambia here on this, it looks like we are paying more than other countries.
Yep.
No. So the thing is, beside Pura, is there other contributing factors?
Would be the government.
Yeah. Is there any economic obstacles, something that we can pinpoint and say, if Gambia has done this, the mobile data cost will come down? We talk about, having more providers, but still that would also have, a drawback with having regulations, having the challenges of making sure things are regulated and so forth. It looks like that probably wouldn't do it. Now, what else do you think, beside, Pura's, enforcement and so forth? What is it, in this current economy that we think else, could be done? Is it that, there should be tax breaks given? Is it that there should be more, more technology, investment in technology? We need to look at real solutions, because people's livelihood is on this now. I mean,
we can't go without cell phones.
Yeah, you send them money to feed, their families. They're spending half of their money on this megabytes.
Yeah, the solution will be the government to enable GAMTEL and have GAMTEL do what they need to do so they can keep the cost down on the private institutions. If GAMTEL that works for the government, GAMTEL can generate millions and millions and millions for Gambia. If they are really, I know they're doing that, but the sky's the limit. They can really restructure GAMTEL to do all of that by taking the leading role in this. GAMTEL should be the leader, and the government should enable GAMTEL to do their research and get the right technology they need to be able to take a lead in this. If GAMTEL covers all of Gambia and they do that, and they charge accordingly, is going to force the smaller industries to really compete with them. And they can't compete with when you have a giant company like GAMTEL or institution like GAMTEL doing that at a very reasonable rate. Well, guess what? And if they can expand, and GAMTEL has that capability to go all the way from Khartoum to Koina, if they can do that, that is where they can. That's where the government take the upper hand in this. If they take the upper hand in this by enabling GAMTEL to do that, well, guess what? QCell, AfriCell, Communion, and all of that will have to rethink about their business. I don't want to say that we drive them out of the country. No, we don't want to drive them. We need to create that competition there, which is fine, but it will help regulate. Because if GAMTEL can cover all of Gambia, for example, and their megabyte is, let's say they do what we're doing in America here. Here, you pay your cell phone bill once a month, you're done. You're not buying any credit anywhere. You're not doing anything else. The same monthly plan will take you month after month. If Gamtel comes with a plan like that, after they establish what they need to do and come with a plan like that, it's going to force everyone else to do the same thing. That's what they're going to do. They're going to follow. And that is what's best for the consumers. Consumers will not have to struggle. And not only that Gamtel, being our own institution, can end up getting the upper hand. If they get at least 50% of this business, and then the remaining 50% can be shared between the smaller companies in there. They also can have a chunk that they cover. Right now, they can only cover certain areas, not everywhere in the country. Gamtel need to go above and beyond. When they do that, that will be the solution for this.
Okay, so so flagging the growth in internet access may be linked to the part in part to reduce government funding for the regional internet cafe and telecenters hub operated by a public transportation company like Gamtel. So if they can they flag the growth in internet access, so it looks like the internet access, issues, because the growth of it causes the government to regulate to the government to reduce the government funding. So it looks like government funding for internet cafe, telecenters, hubs have been actually reduced because of all this internet, usage need. So similarly, similarly at the state internet gateway monopoly as well. So it looks like the state has a monopoly of internet gateway. If you look at Mohammed Jah and other technology companies in the Gambia, they there's kind of like a monopoly, and then government has people who actually dictate. So that also have a direct impact on the cost. The monopoly of the government on the internet gateway. So in sometime around 2019, the Gamtel also collaborated with a Chinese technology firm, Huawei. They launched a broadband network initiative that expands the internet speed across the Gambia. The Gamtel reported they owe about 1.25 billion dollars, which is about 224.3 million in loans for projects as of 2021. While the broadband installation is still ongoing, access and the speed remain significantly challenged in around 2020. So the government approach as national broadband policy, which aimed to provide about 75% of the homes to affordable access to high-speed internet by 2022, which we haven't seen yet. So these are all issues. That's why now, if you want to even upload or download, the rate of this, the rate is about 5 megabits if you want to upload anything or download. So that 5 megabit costs, some people arms and legs.
Yep. Just like I said, government, number one, need to enable Gamtel to function the way they should function, just like how telecommunication companies have functioned in other countries. Having some hands in it to manipulate that. In our next topic, we will be talking about that, and I've already talked about this in the past. When it comes to the economy of our country, corruption in the institutions is a big illness. Is really bad. All of that is because of the corruption in the institutions. Corruption in the institutions can cause things go the wrong way, because there are certain individuals that have their own interest in certain things, which is actually conflict of interest, which is not good, because conflict of interest can make things like that happen. But Gamtel really needed to be given, if we want a proper solution to this, our own government need to enable Gamtel to do what they need to do and expand. We are talking mobile data right now, but Gamtel should, I'm sure they already have that, They have departments responsible for mobile data. They have departments for internet. They have departments for broadband. They should have departments for television stations in people's houses and things like that, or apartments. All of these, Gamtel can do a lot if we enable them, and they can make a lot. Gamtel could be one of those institutions that can really compete with other institutions. They could be one of the most revenue generating institution in Gambia. They could be one of those if they are utilized correctly, if they are used correctly, and if we can eliminate corruption in our institutions. Gamtel can do that. But instead, we're not. We're allowing outside companies to come in because of corruption. And those outside companies are giving kickbacks to, if we allow them to give kickbacks to some government officials, that will block Gamtel, and government can put their hand on, or their foot on Gamtel and say, Gamtel, this is where you're going to stop. We're not going to allow you to expand. We're not going to allow you to do this. If you don't allow Gamtel to go up and expand, what's going to happen is there is a conflict of interest in there, because smaller institutions or private companies or private institutions are coming in and pumping millions to individual pockets so they can hold Gamtel where they are, so that these people can operate well. And when they operate, they can charge whatever they want, no regulations, if any. If there are regulations, but limited regulations on them, they can do what they want and earn a lot of money, make a lot of money, and some of that money is going into somebody's pocket. So these are all part of the corruption in the institution, and that's where we need to change. Our government should not allow that. We should enable our own institution, which is Gamtel, to be the leading industry in technology in our country, from cell phones, mobile data, high-speed internet, television stations, televisions, you name it, Gamtel should be able to do that. That was their intention, the intention of establishing Gamtel. That is the purpose of Gamtel. And if they're not doing that, sorry, we just shot ourselves in the foot.
Right. So in other words, just to conclude this particular topic, we are looking at Pura stepping in. Need to make some regulations. We can have as many GSM companies as possible, but we need to make sure that Pura does its work in making sure that the regulations are followed. And then we need for the pricing of it, the government monopoly of having to and then monopoly and funding. We need to make sure that the government don't reduce funding. Instead, they increase funding in this area, because now, as a developing country, we are still not there. People would need technologies to even do classworks, especially in the wake of COVID. Most people were working remotely from home, and they are also doing home schools. So it is very important for the government knows that they need to invest more on technology and then make internet accessible, to people from home, not only at the internet cafes or at telecenters. We need to provide, support for businesses that are also collaborating with, private entities to make internet accessibility, affordable. So we spoke about that, and then we also said that Gamtel, need to be able to muscle up and to the challenge, right? To be able to indicate, to be able to, control, kind of the way, the internet, is provided in the country. So I think, we look at the mega, how many GSM companies are in the Gambia now. I think it's about few of them. We have AfroCell, QCell, we have Gamcell. Those are the three major ones, right? And then their package, 20 meg can take you, some people 30 days for eight days. 20 meg is, I think, $8. 40 meg is $17. The list goes on by that for AfroCell. So you come to QCell, 20 meg, they offer it for $9. 40 meg, they offer it for $18. I think they are a little bit QSL is probably a little bit expensive than AfroCell. But again, this is what we have right now. Let's see what the government can do. I hope they're listening to look into technology. It is the key. It is 21st century is the key to our success. And the government shouldn't look at, oh, if we make internet accessible or affordable, people will be communicating with people who don't support the government, and it will bring more awareness. It will be more, civic education, which is a threat to probably the establishment. They shouldn't look at that. They should look at where what we can do. I mean, with technology. I believe in censorship to some point. People should have freedom to express themselves, but they shouldn't use technology to cause or to undermine government to do something that is not nationalist. So what I'm saying is that give people the ability to grow and do better with technology. At the same time, be cautious how they go about using it. So that's why we need to spend on it. It shouldn't be a threat, not to spend on internet access.
Yeah. So what the government, my final advice on this to the government is what they need to look at is, one, GAMTEL can be self-sustainable. GAMTEL does not need, if GAMTEL is equipped and enabled to do what they need to do, they can be an institution that's going to help the Gambia. GAMTEL can be self-sustainable. They don't need any funding from Gambia, from the government. They can do all of these, have their own budget, and the revenue that they're collecting from all of this will be pumped into the country, into the Gambia, into the government. They don't need the government. The government needs to sponsor them from the beginning, the get-go, to get them established without too much limitations, because it's our own institution. Limitations need to be put on the private institutions. You see what I mean? So that GAMTEL can provide all this telephone services, internet services, all the way to our schools. All police stations need to have internet service. Like I once talked about, digital, going electronic instead of pen and paper. Every police station you walk in the Gambia, you walk in, should have their computers sitting there. They should have trained professionals that are ready to take reports. They should be able to do things, and when a police station is called and the dispatch get on the phone, they can take reports and put it on the computer right away. And any other police station in the area can pull up and see what they have. And they can see this is what's going to take us to the next level, is the next generation. Every police station need to be able to share information. They can't do that without internet. They need to be able to do that, so that the first time I call a police station to report something, and then they start to log it in the system, say in Brikama, anyone in Lemon police station should be able to see it. Bundung police station, Fajakunda and Sarakunda, all the way across the area, they should all see that a vehicle, I'm just going to give a random example, a Chevy Impala knocked a bicyclist on the way and took off. It's a black Chevy Impala, even if you don't get the vehicle plate number at that point. A black Chevy Impala has run over a bicycle rider on the way and did not stop and is gone. As soon as that get logged in there, all police stations can get that, and they can communicate that on the walkie-talkie, and every single police station is looking for a black Impala. And every black Impala that passes, they will stop. And if they can see a damage in front of them, in the front of that vehicle, a new damage, they can stop and start questioning that person. That may be, internet is going to take us to the next level. We need to think outside of the box, what this will bring. And that's part of the infrastructure. And that is also going to be part of what we're going to talk about on the next one. In an economic country, or in building economy in a country, you need good infrastructure. That good infrastructure is going to be able to protect people. It's going to be able to protect people. There's a lot. Our schools, every school should have internet. Every school, even elementary schools. But only Gamtel can bring this, to have internet in every community, in every school, elementary schools, high schools, or secondary schools, whatever. The Gambia College, University, they all need to have this. You can go to the market and there will be high-speed internet there. Only Gamtel can do this. This is what we need to bring for our people, so that people can access internet without having to buy all these megabytes from all this stupid stuff that costs the money that is costing them, when the cost of living is expensive and they cannot go without their phones. So the government needs to think outside of the box, open the doors for Gamtel to invest into this and make Gambia better. That's what we need to look at. So I'm going to stop here, and more, but I'm going to stop here.
Thank you, Sam. So that being said, we're gonna go right into the economic aspect of it. I know this topic is wide about when it comes to like cost of internet services and even traveling. I will just jump start on traveling quickly. If you look at Gambia nowadays, people in the diaspora, they have to take different route to go to Gambia. The last time I went was 2019. I spent almost the whole 24 hours on the way. I felt like I was living my life in traveling, because I started my day here. The following day I was on the way. I couldn't even catch up my sleep, because when I went back home, I kept sleeping. Before it took me another day or so before I could sync with the traveling time. And it doesn't have supposed to be like that. If you look at New York here, going across the Gambia, good for 8 hours flight. If there's a straight flight, we should be there. From here to Senegal, it's about 8 hours flight. I once traveled with South African airline from Washington DC. It was just 8 hours. I was in Dakar. So it is so frustrating us learning to travel, going through different countries. I remember 2009, I went through Senegal when they stole most of my luggages. Bad experience, by the way, ladies and gents. It was crazy experience. My luggage I got there, I got to Senegal, but they say my luggage was in Washington, DC. I took a hotel. My luggage came. They say it came through Dakar. He went to South Africa. So I spent like 3 days paying for hotel, waiting for this luggage, and it didn't get there. Then I traveled on land to go to Gambia. And when I get to Gambia, they said the luggage, these luggages are not here again. I was even lucky, because the clothes that I had in my handbag were few. So people even were thinking that perhaps I was deported or something, because bad experience, by the way. I was deported because I came in, with one bag and 2 of my wallies.
In same clothes every day.
Over 1 week. I had to tell my brother, can we is there a way that I can go to the market and then just buy some clothes? Because I don't want people to think that this guy just came in 1 week or 2 as we were in the same clothes. So it was so crazy. And then finally, they said the luggage came after 1 week, 10 days or something. Yeah, at that time, half of my vacation time was gone. Yeah. So that's how crazy it is going through somebody's country, by the way. Yeah. Going through someone's country is so crazy what you have to go through. And I knew, there were a reason why that happened. The reason was that I had some chains and watches in my luggage that was the biggest mistake. That went through the to the cargo area. I think when that came up on the screen, people who are working in the airport were interested in that. So they say, you know what, let's play this bag like a TikTok bag, and then this luggage is taking them everywhere or doing something. But literally, those chains and watches, by the time the luggage got to Gambia, they were all gone.
Yep.
And they were all gone without having to open the lock that I put in there.
They're
So
too smart for that. Yep.
they're too smart for that.
Yep.
I learned that they take the zipper, they do something with the zipper, open it, and they will not open the lock. So they open the zipper and they zip it again. Take whatever they want and zip it. That was the day I learned that. So having to put a lock in your luggage, by the way, folks, it's not even needed. If they need to go through that, they would open it without even having to do that. So just to make this short story, a long story short, that's what happened on that instant. And people are traveling, they're spending days there, they are inconvenient, and then they experiencing other things. So this new government, when it came in power, I had the opportunity to speak to some Nigerian plane dealers who were looking into Gambian airport and trying to see how they can have direct flight from New York to the Gambia. There were some conversation with President Barros first coming in the US here about that. Now, there are challenges I had because the kind of taxes that were imposed on people who are coming to who planes that are coming there during Jammeh's time were high. That's why you don't have direct flights. And even Senegalese, they laugh at us on that. How come every time Gambians are traveling, they have to come through Senegal? Even one Senegalese even told me that you guys should be managing. But the point here is that Gambians don't have many customers and many clients traveling. Senegal is a big country. You take a dedicated plane there, you're gonna have maybe hundreds, maybe or 50, passengers that are going directly. So that's why they had to go through countries. Sometimes you see what do you call it, Brussels airline, they have to go through certain countries to come to Gambia because they need to get their passenger. They have to go through Senegal. You can still sit in the plane and then come back and take Gambia. So the Gambian population and the Gambian people that are traveling are not sufficient enough for this to have a dedicated flight. So they said that this is one of the issue. And the other thing is the airport tariff, are expensive. So I am just gonna stop here, Sam. If you have anything before we go to the economic issue of this whole thing, when it comes to the flight, what do you think the government need to do, or what can the private entity, what can be done to make sure that we have comfortable flight instead of going through Morocco, going through Brussels, going through Senegal, can have direct flight? Or do you think that's not possible at all?
It is possible. I am not an expert in this, but I'll say this because
okay. Yeah, just give your 2 cents because I'm not an expert too.
But we can discuss this, yes, because I have once flown from Gambia to Geneva, Switzerland, from Geneva to JFK, and I've also flown back that way. And I've also flown from Gambia to Zurich, Switzerland, from Zurich to Washington, D.C., and I've taken that same route back. I've also gone with Sabina from Gambia to Brussels, with Sabina Airlines from Gambia to Brussels, from Banjul to Brussels, Brussels to JFK, and then back. And the shortest distance I've ever flown was Dakar, JFK. Just like you said, Dakar to JFK is 8-hour flight, straight 8-hour flight. And I've also said I wish that this was from Gambia straight to JFK, or from Banjul straight to somewhere in the U.S. Will be a lot easier and convenient for Gambians. But like you said, there are economical ties for airlines into this, and what Gambia really needs to do is they need to open up doors. I know there are some security issues there. Security reasons also can prevent flights going into certain countries. But at the same time, what Gambia can do is, and this is one thing we don't, in Gambia, when you wear a brand new shoe, everybody wants to know where you got that shoe from, so they can buy the same thing. If you drive a new car, they want to know where you got that car from. You have a new style, people want to know. But what we're not doing is we're not looking at what our neighboring countries are doing when it comes to overall economic impact of our country. We need to look at Gambia, need to look, what is Senegal doing? What made Senegal have a direct flight from Dakar to JFK and Gambia can't get that? Why? Not only it's, yes, in terms of passengers is one thing. Having enough passengers for airlines to travel, yes, it's going to worth that, because a simple situation or scenario will be a taxi driver that leaves Serakunda to Brikama. If you have a taxi driver that runs from Serakunda to Brikama, and every time you take off your full, you will not need to stop anywhere. You can go with a full flight or full taxi from Serakunda to Brikama nonstop, and Brikama to Serakunda nonstop. The reason why you're stopping in other areas is because you're not full, and you don't want to go empty or have empty and lose money, because you're going to burn fuel to get there. So it's the same thing. Airlines will not want to take a risk of flying a half plane from JFK or from Washington, D.C., for anywhere from in the U.S. to Gambia with a half flight. They want a full flight. That's where they can make their money. But Gambia needs to look at what competitors are doing, what our neighboring countries are doing. Not only that, but they also need to look at how much taxes are they charging? Are these people charging? Can we charge about the same thing to be able to encourage airlines? Can we even charge less? Because if we can control corruption in our country, there are areas that we really need to focus on rather than overcharging airlines to come to our country with taxes. We can reduce the taxes on there and encourage flights to come from the US or Europe, anywhere in Europe, Germany, Italy, UK, Scandinavian countries, in Sweden, Denmark, and different, and if we can reduce taxes that allow people, airlines to really have interest in Gambia and encourage them and meet their security requirements, there is a chance that they will fly that route. If things are a little bit more reasonable for them, they will try to be attractive as well when it comes to passenger fares and things like that. And the more people they have to fly, the better they will take the chance, as long as we can meet the security requirements. Yeah. So Gambia government need to look at all of those and see what they can do to attract these airlines to come in, rather than imposing high taxes on them, high tariff on them, and make everything difficult for them. If they do that, they're punishing Gambians. And you know what? The consequences will impact all Gambians, not just a few or those those overseas. Should be everyone, because we all have to take the same route by going to Senegal first, or flying to Casablanca, flying to Nigeria, or flying to other countries to come to Europe or US, and vice versa. And that's not good for us. So the government has a role to this, to play in this. And it all comes down to some of those key elements of having a good economy in a country.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so now talking about that, we talk about the economy now. Sam, can you hear me? Yeah. So what is the economic impact of all this? And then this is something that we need to look at, because cost of flight, cost of mega data, it's really these are essential things that we need to do in our day-to-day lives, and the economic impact of all of this, and how can we mitigate that?
Yep. If you look at around the world, number one, I'll always say this first: I am not an economist. Okay, I want to say that I am not an economist.
No, none of us are.
So people don't think that I'm talking from that standpoint. But one thing I do know is, if you look at poor countries in the world, sometimes some poor countries are poor. Not always the case. Some poor countries like Gambia are poor because we don't have anything to offer to the international market, or the global market. You see, back in the days in Jawara's time, we have groundnuts, and we make groundnut in Gambia and export it out to the global market and sell it for something that impacts the exchange rate and all of that stuff. Gambia does not have almost anything to offer to the global market. All right. The little things that we have are being individualized. For example, there's sand mining in Gambia that is controlled by an individual instead of our government. We have other things in there, but anyway, I won't go too far into that. So that's one thing. Well, that's one of the reasons why poor countries remain poor, because they don't have anything to offer to the global market. However, there are other things that I want to mention. For any country to have a good economic stability, there are certain things, or economic growth in a country, there are certain things that need to come in place. And those things is, I'm going to mention about four things. And those four things are: one, corruption in the institution. Okay, corruption in the institutions is a big deal. If we cannot eliminate corruption in all of our institutions, it's going to be very difficult. And that takes time. It takes the right person with the right mindset that comes in and put all the right things in place to be able to eliminate corruption. So corruption in the institutions will really have always have a very economical detriment to our economy, to our country. So that's one. Another thing that we need is, or in order to really help our economy, is not only stop corruption in the institutions, but also to have an educated labor force. In Gambia, we don't have that. And I'm glad the president made changes into his cabinet and brought new people. Yet to see, we want to see, I want to give them a chance and opportunity to do what they need to do to move the country forward. And I'm going to be definitely keeping my eye on Gambia for the development from all these institutions, especially from all these ministries. But having an educated labor force that can move the country to the next level, having those technocrats and having those, like I said, educated labor force is what moves the country forward. If you have the wrong people in the wrong places, they're not going to make any changes there. They're not going to do anything that will help the country. All right. If you have the right people in place, they are going to look at how can we go to the next level? How can we move it? For example, in Gamtel, that we were just talking about, have a very good educated labor force in Gamtel will really can move us to economic sustainability. And Gamtel can be self-sustainable, of course. And Gamtel can be one of those industries or institutions that can create a great revenue for our country by expanding and going into not only internet and all the things that we mentioned. So, if you have that educated labor force, they are going to look at that next step and the next step and what's next, get something done and get it done right, start making money there and start really serving the public there. That's the main purpose. And then look into the next one. Just like I said, they can end up having internet in schools, in the communities, in the markets, in the post office. You go to police stations, in the army camps, they all have internet. Gamtel can go that route. But only educated labor force will think that way and have that mindset to go there. So that's two. Like I said, corruption in the institutions is one. Educated labor force is another. Security, very important. Security. If you want to have build a strong economy, you've got to have that security to be able to allow private companies and institutions to come in and invest in your country, allow them to come in, invest, but hire more people, create more work, more job for people, for all the youths that are sitting there not working. This is also something that will impact the airlines. If they see that there is security in Gambia, Gambia airport is very secure and all of that stuff. And certain countries will not even want to deal with you if you're not secure. They wouldn't even want their airlines to fly into your country if you don't have any security. So security plays a big role. The burglaries, the attack, and all the things that happen, security violations, or security threat in the country. So security is a big deal. Security need to be controlled. The government need to keep an eye on security. Get that security task force, restructure our security. We've talked about security reform. That really needed to happen by arming the police, give them guns, give them weapons, give them vehicles to travel, communication sets, walkie-talkie, and every police officer should have their own walkie-talkie sets. The vehicles should have them. They should be equipped to be able to maintain security, internal security in our country. So security plays a big part. The fourth one I'm going to talk about is the infrastructure. Infrastructure, very, very important. Infrastructure is not just about building roads. is about everything. The telecommunication system that we're talking. If investors cannot have a very reliable internet in your country, what makes you think that they can come and invest? They want to be able to communicate. In fact, nowadays, what is happening in a lot of countries around the world that I know of, they have, and I've also suggested this some time ago when I was talking about how can we stop our banjo pharmacy, hospital pharmacy from losing medicine? How do they run out medicine? That should not happen. There are systems in place that they can link with suppliers through the internet, be able to do automated ordering for them. But you need an internet, stable internet to do that. And that's part of infrastructure. Think about electricity. We need electricity 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You need a water supply. You need a high-speed internet, like I said, telecommunication system, very, very important. So all of this infrastructure, if you have investors that want to come invest, of course, they come in with their families, they come in with some people. All those people need to be able to get to a good hospital and get very good medical treatment. Hospitals are part of our infrastructure, all right? They want to be able to send their kids to good schools. Schools are part of our infrastructure, building good schools and maintaining them, allowing them to have everything they need, just like here. You see, all of these are part of our infrastructure. So infrastructure becomes very important. And that's why I said these four things can really impact any economy. Number one, stop corruption in the institutions. Number two, the government should have very good educated labor force. People that need to retire them, get them out, give them their pension, let them go sit. Bring in talented people, educated labor force, people that studied certain things, put them in that field. Somebody studied finance, put them in finance work. Somebody studied agriculture, put them into agriculture. Don't take that agriculture student or graduate and put them in Social Security. You know, these are things that we do in Gambia sometimes. You cannot do that. You know, we put the right people in the right places that can move us to the next level. You know, that can set goals, achieve their goals, and look for the next goal, and set new goals, and set high expectations, and move the country in every department, move them. That's what needs to happen with every minister and every director, every permanent secretary. So that's why I said educated labor force is very important. If you put you and I in somewhere that we have no clue, we're not going to move anything around. You know, if you put somebody into a place that have no clue, cannot make anything in there, they're not going to move. It's going to be the same old business every day. You want to bring people that study a certain area, give them the tools, the technology, give them the support, the resource they need to be able to make an impact in there. That is very important. And like I said, those are two. And the third one, of course, security, very important. We all know about security. And the fourth one is, of course, having that high infrastructure, a power plant, electricity, water supply, schools, hospitals, telecommunication, all of it. These are very important. There are four things that can help build a good, strong economy. And I'm going to stop here for now.
So, Sam, so thank you for that. You have actually mentioned many things here, starting from the labor force, corruption, security, technology, and all that, you know, for our economic growth as a third world country. Yeah, we are not economics, but we can really put our 2 cents together about this.
Yep.
There is no, Gambia is blessed. Why I say that? Because 60% of our population are youth. That is an asset. And we have a large base diaspora. Okay. Diaspora right now drive the GDP of the Gambia. We know that, right? You and I live there.
Yep.
If we all diasporans can start, investing 15% of our income, not even 20%. How many diasporans are in the Gambia? I mean, Gambian diasporans are out there.
A lot.
Almost more than 100,000 or 200,000. If we all started think of a way to invest. Again, investment, we know what investment is. It's not just spending money. You're spending money with the expectation of returns. Okay? If we do that in either ways, by to investing through different areas, right? We can invest in construction, we can invest in any kind of thing. Okay, we can come together collaboratively and like a joint task, joint forces, like yourself, myself, and Alas, and Famara and Jaga, let's say, we put an investment together of 15% of salary, and then create an institution there, or create some kind of an investment tool. It can be investment bank, it can be anything. That will impact the economy. The only thing we need from the government is to give us the permission or the environment to explore our creativity, right? We can do what the Nigerians are doing. They're owning banks, construction companies, supermarket, you name it. Gambian diasporans, 15% of your salary. Have a mindset of investing instead of investing in US or Jamaica or Australia or London. I'm not saying you will not invest there, but let's try that. That will create so much workforce. We can hire our own people. When the Lebanese go to Gambia and invest millions of dollars, who does he hire first? He will hire his own people, Chinese people, before they consider hiring their own people, because they want the money to go back to their country. Let's think. What I think our problem is, and government is easy to blame because they are the supreme power, right? They are the one who are in charge of power. But sometimes it's the citizens that make things happen. When I met with President Barrow 2017, I went to meet him to talk about empowering citizens. It was in New York City here. Be given priority to Gambian-owned businesses in contracts. The first thing he told me is, Mr. Sawane, wholeheartedly, government create opportunity or loopholes, but private entities, citizens create jobs. He was right. Yeah, the president was right. And this is not to say to endorse any of what he does, but when let's call it spade a spade. And I told him, Mr. President, in that regard, since you are coming new, right, let's just make sure we don't take drawbacks or under the carpet deals with companies when we have our citizens who can do the same thing. Let's prioritize them because the job stays. So just to make the story short, we cannot say, there's a saying that Kwame Nkrumah say, Africa is not poor. It's Africans that are poor. Gambia is not poor, it's the Gambians that are poor. I will bring it to that level. We have so much assets, so much human resources. There's no nation that beat us. 60%, 65% of human capital are under our young age. That has a potential. We'll be a break record, and our diasporan population is skyrocketing. Since 1990, the time that I came to this country in the 1990s, the gate of diasporans had opened. They flocked, in search of greener pastures, in search of knowledge, in search of this thing. So what is the point of not taking that back? If you want to stay in the West as long as you want, you're welcome. But that cannot stop you from investing back home. And you cannot say also, I cannot go back. How many population? Half of the people who travel from Gambia, or as in, I can say 3/4 can all go back. The dictatorship that prevent people from going back is no more there. At least we can blame the borough government for other things like corruption and other things, but when it comes to like people traveling back, nobody has traveled back and get arrested if you hadn't done anything. So the only thing we can talk about is corruption and maybe opportunities given to the Gambian. And that's why we have to speak to the power. And this is why these kind of platforms are. Have to speak true to the power so they know where they need to improve. And we're making them better because they are there. We are people's office. We have to do that. But what I'm bringing is that economic sustainability is in the hands of the government. Government can go and attack the work labor force, fire people. I had President's speech that he's gonna send a watch, dog and watch people, like people who are coming in, are they going leaving the work on time? You can do all that, but that's not where the money comes. The money comes in private entity and other investments. Let's think out of the box and start acting, out of the box. We cannot keep doing the same thing and expect different results. That's the definition of insanity. And that's why I'm urging the government and other entities to start taking more steps now. So the citizens, give them free classes, lectures, create institutions where people will go and talk to the young people how to become business people, business-minded folks. This is what we need. We don't need any more thing. People need to know what their potentials are and they explore them. Not everybody has the opportunity like we have. We are able to, tap into our senses and do certain things, but it doesn't mean that, the kids coming can do that. They see themselves in this world and say, gee, what's going on? So what I'm trying to say here is, and this is just a little summary, Sam, economic, we can do security, we can do all the things that you're saying. Those are important. We can tap into, corruption. Those are ethical things that we need to practice every day until the end of time. But right now, to make a drastic change in our economy, diaspora and youth population need to be at the forefront. If we can solve that problem, we're good to start with. And then you come to taxes, and that has to deal with the government because they need to know, put the laws in place and try to collect the taxes right way and spend it right way. Because when you undertax people, you are losing money. And when you don't put the taxes in the right places, roads constructions, telecommunications, educations, and all that, we are missing out. So collect the taxes, put it in the right way, not put it in your pocket. So that's why, like you said, corruption is key. Taking people to jail. I'm the one who I'm one of the people who propaganda for that. If they don't know how to do that, let them ask me, or let them get an idea from me. It doesn't matter. Karimuna uncle, this person is this. If they are corrupt, put them to jail. That's what they do here in the US. You can be a senator, you can be a minister, you can be a president. You're gonna get handcuffed, and you're probably gonna be seized. So it's very simple. Africa doesn't take a rocket scientist to design the kind of economy that we want. Accountability, ideas, and put in place and see the returns. If one thing doesn't work, try another one. But Gambians need to start investing instead of other nationality, because when other nationality comes, the prices goes up a little bit, because what happens is they need to put more money. But with our own, maybe you have a house. You're in front of the house, you can create a store there. So your overheads are cut. So the cost that you're gonna apply to your goods would be going down for regular people to afford. So this is why it needs a national awakeness. Instead of us doing the same thing, going back way, coming to America here, work 9 to 5, get here until we are old. Let's start something. Let's create joint venture. One man cannot do it alone. Sam, you have 15%. It cannot make a difference. Come with me and alas, we sign agreement. We do it. We have papers in place. We share the profit. What is difficult in that? We need to start to trust each other, work together.
Well,
yeah. So I'm gonna here. I mean, sometimes when I'm passionate about things, I know when I'm passionate about things that I think are not so simple, not too difficult. I can sometimes ideas come from all angles. But these are not a rocket scientist for us to do this. So I'm gonna let you go so we can wrap it up. I know you are testing what.
Yep, I want to say something. Is I kind of disagree with some of what you said here, and here's the reason why. I know you talked to
that's why we are here. We have to
disagree. So I know you talked to President Barrow. You said in 2017, and you talked about and what the president said is the government can. I don't remember the exact words you said and how you said it.
Create loopholes and
exactly. But they don't. Yes, that's totally. Government can create jobs. They can also open the doors for people to invest. But the problem in Gambia is not about the investment from the diasporans. Is the infrastructure that we have in the Gambia and the corruption in the institutions. That's why I said in any state, in any country, before you really can build your economy, you've got to kill that corruption in the institution. And here's why. If you look at it in the first place, one, you and I are sitting in the United States and we can't even vote. We just had elections in Gambia. We can't even vote. Our rights have been deprived from us. That's wrong. That shouldn't happen. Same thing happened if you and I get up today and we go to Gambia and we want to open a business. Guess what's going to happen? We will go back and forth before we can get a license. And you know why? Because they want us to bribe them. They would want, not everybody's going to do this, but what Gambians face is they want people to bribe them. Someone in there, that bribery is the corruption in that institution that needs to go first. So that you can walk into any office, get a form and apply for a permit and get your permit. Otherwise, that bribery is going to continue to be there. You will have to bribe. And in America here, we don't know that. We don't bribe anybody for anything. Anything we want to go look for, we get the right documentation, we go get it. No bribery. You don't pay a dime for anything, except for the fee for what you need to pay for registration, whatever that is. So Gambians can go to Gambia. You want to invest, you go to try to get a permit or a license to create a business there. They block you different ways. One, they block you because you're going to go back and forth. You're going to go back and forth. You get tired and you give up. That's one way. Two, because that person that you see, you're going to meet, you're speaking your own local language, Mandinka, Walla, Fula with them, or any language you speak. If the moment you get there, they know you're from somewhere. you don't live in Gambia. They know that. So they know they want money. They want somebody that will give them something under the table, but they're afraid that because they don't know who you are. If they collect anything from you, well, that Sam Cisa may know somebody that I don't know. Most someone knows other people. You don't know where this person came from. You don't know who else he knows. And you don't know who else he's going to tell that they bribed you, that person. So they're afraid of that. They're going to twist and turn you and make you go back and forth. And instead, a foreigner will come and give it because that's a foreigner. This guy is from Nigeria. He doesn't know anybody in Gambia. Give it to him, collect some money from him and put it in your pocket and give him a license. And you deprive the Gambian from getting that. Another part is I can have a very good business intention and make my business plan as to what I want to do. Any Gambian can do this as to what you want to do. You go to apply for your license. They want you to present what you're going to do, or you share this information with them. They take your information, steal your idea, and go sell it to somebody else, or do it with somebody else, and forget you and deprive you from getting what you need to get. So they will do that. All of this is because, again, going back to one thing, corruption in the institutions. That corruption in the institutions need to be killed first so that they will allow people to come and invest. Unless and until that happens, it's going to be very difficult for you to go invest. So the Gambia government need to kill the corruption in the institutions. And that is what we need to do for Gambians to think about investing. Give them their rights, allow them to vote. They're in the diaspora, allow them to vote. Give them all their rights first before you ask them to come and invest. If you ask me to come and invest in Gambia, yeah, I can come and invest in Gambia, but I'm here, I'm a citizen of a Gambia and I can't vote. You already took a right from me. That deprived me from my right. What else are you going to deprive when I get there? You know, things like that will happen. Look at our own government. There's, again, corruption in the institution. There's a lot of things that are going wrong that need to be fixed. And I hope President Barrow will fix these with his new government. There is the airport tax that people are collecting in the Gambia. That also affects us. There is a $1,000 that you have to pay in and out of the country. I don't know what other country does that, because all taxes are included in the airline tickets. Gambians should not be paying a dime when they get to our airport. And they should not be paying a penny when they leave the airport. That shouldn't be happening. But where is that money? Who collects that money and where does it go? These are all corruptions in the institution that needs to stop. All of these nonsense need to stop in our country. For Gambians to be encouraged to come do something is a pain. I can fly out today or tomorrow and go to any other country and I'm not going to pay any fee. You know why? Because any fee that airport taxes I'm going to pay will be included in my airline ticket that I pay for. I can leave, go to Gambia and come back next week, land in the United States, any airport in the United States. They're not going to ask me to pay a dime. There's no fee there because all fees are in the airline ticket.
Yeah.
So we need to stop all these corruptions in the institution. But that one is something specific because it was recently introduced, I don't know, about a year ago or so, or two, when they started doing that. And up to now, have they changed the security system in our airport? Have they changed? What have they changed there? What did they do there? That have they told the government, Gambian people, where that money is going? How much was collected? What is in the bank? What was used for what? We need to stop all of these for Gambians to be able to come back home and say, yeah, wow, I feel very good to come and invest in my country. I will do that. I've already invested. I'm building in Gambia right now, as we speak. So I'm already investing something, which created some work for some people. Some people are getting paid. All of us are doing that. Okay. But to be able to open a business, to operate a business in there, boy, you will go through so much things and it's going to end up costing you all the money that you put together before you can even start that, or at least some of your money that you put together to start a business, you're going to end up losing it before you even start. So we need to kill that corruption in the institution. That's why that is very important and is a key pillar for a good economy in any country. You've got to stop that corruption there. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that point. That you said we gotta stop the corruption. For us to invest, but we cannot wait. Also, is corruption there? We cannot invest.
Well,
we have to tackle the two problems at the same time.
That's why we need to hold our National Assembly accountable. That's why during the National Assembly elections, I told everyone, all the audios that are released on WhatsApp, I advise Gambians to vote for the right people that are going to make change, because there's so much nonsense and so much unlawful activities in our country that need to stop. And we need to get our National Assembly to change our laws.
We put a pressure on National Assembly.
Yes, exactly.
Let's put let's let's try to find a way how to like sponsor a bill to make sure that this anti-corruption and anti-corruption things are fought. At the same time, encourage our diasporans to start investment. Because again, I can understand, people might not trustworthy in the Gambia. We might have family members who might not handle stuff. But with modern technology, people are able to control businesses remotely even. If you have only a few trusted people, you can be successful because most of the things are digital now. Digitally, you can monitor things. We have cameras and stuff like that. There's a lot of, improvement needed, but I agree with you 100%. Accountability is key. Making sure that, like the corruption is, mitigated or fought is key for people to comfortably, and also government need to start, government officials, stop taking this bribery from other folks and giving Gambians the openness, the opportunity to use their brains and then make, investment that could bring prosperity to the country. It is all important. I'm telling you, if we leave corruption and that's deter us, guess what? We are suffering. We're the one who is suffering because the economy lies on us, not only on the government. At this point, the government cannot lift themselves from the seat. Let's lift them and us together. Yeah, let's fight for those parliamentarians. Let's sponsor a bill. Private citizens can sponsor bills, and push. We have the right. But let's get involved. Yeah, so you are right, they will block it. Sometimes people have gone there, they stole their ideas.
The idea, yeah. They will steal your idea.
Yeah, all that had happened, but at the same time, it's a challenge. But for the love of our country, we need to, if people are not doing what they need to do, we need to make them do it, not through face word or insult or physical fight. Nobody fights with the government physically, but we can speak power to the truth. Either they like it or not. If they don't like it, they cannot take the heat. Let them get out of the kitchen. And somebody go in. We are not here to challenge anybody, but to change the way our system are. Yeah. And then it has to come from outside. The people inside, they just need our cooperation. But the idea and the funding has to come from outside. The diaspora population is so much now. If everybody put 10% together, we can invest, we can make a change. And it's about time. Either you're going back or not. Nobody worries if you stay here forever. But put your money where your mouth is. So let's start. We're gonna sponsor a bill, and perhaps we're gonna sponsor a business that will create employment and other stuff. Then do it. There's no doubt.
If we're going to sponsor a bill, I will put my money into a bill, sponsoring a bill that will allow diaspora to vote under every circumstance, no matter what, they have to vote. That I will put my money in. I want any National Assembly that wants to create that bill to make it a very entrenched clause law that nobody can change, because diasporans are Gambians. They are citizens, they have the right to vote, and we've not been voting. So if the president wants to start something, the president himself needs to sponsor a bill to allow the diasporans to vote. Then everything else he does, we're going to rally behind him and say that, okay, he is on the right track and going in the right direction. I mean, he's already changed the ministers. Yes, that's a start. We need to see what else they're going to do. But for our country to go forward, I expect this in the next 5 years for this president and this National Assembly to do. One, constitutional reform. That need to happen. We cannot wait past another 5 years. We cannot wait for 3 years. We need to reform our constitution next year. By next year, that needs to get done. Okay. Civil service reform need to happen. Security reform need to happen. I mean, there are so many reforms that we talked 5 years ago, and none of them took place, or none of them happened the way it's supposed to be. So we've got to move from that level to this next level, so we can move our country forward. That's what I'd like to see.
Yes.
Right?
That bill, I know you'll be passionate about that bill. I mean,
very passionate. I want people to have their right, you know. Yeah. If any National Assembly member comes to me and say, in fact, I have some of them in my group, and I did set this there, sponsor, let's work on something, push for people in the diaspora to vote. They are human beings, they are Gambians. They need to vote. So they need to push for that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Thank you, Sam. I think we have really exhausted this topic.
Yeah, I think we can leave it there. We have not finished it yet, but there is a lot.
No. If you have anything, then let's make a final.
No. I'm saying that there is a lot to be said, and I'm sure all the listeners and the viewers will agree. There's a lot to say about this, and some of them are sitting and listening, and they're going to watch this and listen to it, and also have other ideas they want to add to what we said. So there's a lot to be said. We can't finish it, but we can wrap it up now.
Yeah, definitely. I think the government is also looking, because we share with them, their groups, hopefully, they look into it and see what is of good value to them about this conversation. But at the end of the day, trust me, I mean, it's our country, we are humans. Africa belongs to us, Gambia belongs to us, this world belongs to us. Let's keep taking initiative and taking charge instead of shying away from charges and responsibility. Because at the end of the day, it takes words, just few words to change the world. It takes few actions. It takes few leaders to change the world. So let us not undermine or underestimate the power of words, and then the power of initiative, and then the power of leadership. It can change the world. So let's hold our leaders accountable. Let's step up the plate. Let's talk to our colleagues, sensitize them. Sometimes, people don't see things. The thing is right here, but you're not seeing it. You're looking far. The solution is right here under your feet, but you're looking everywhere. And I want you to get up and say, oh, I didn't know this. If I knew this, it would have been done long time ago. But you never look. Look everywhere. Let's look everywhere for the solution. We can solve the problem. Our country is blessed. Gambia is one of the blessed countries in the world. Like I said, we have 60% of our population that are youth. We have diaspora population that is uncontestable, and wide knowledge of wide experience, knowledge, and education. The only thing is to figure out, because we have been trying and going after the governments, 3 governments, nothing has changed. Let's bring change from within ourselves. Maybe if our governments see that, they will be forced to change by force.
Well, no government is going to force themselves to change.
You have to bring change to them.
We have to bring change to them, but the only way we can bring change to them is with our votes. We're not going to grab weapons and
our mouth, our creativity also. Yeah. Because I don't believe in this point now, voting some in, voting others in, voting. You vote somebody in, they change.
Yep. So that's where it starts.
There's a problem. The problem is not voting the good person in. Barrow was good. Jammeh was good when he started. Jawara was good.
Well,
but we have to change us now.
Yeah. We need to change, but we can change as many changes we want to do ourselves. But if our rights have been deprived, we will have limitations.
No, right. The price our right. I think we are almost on top of that.
Yeah. So if we change that so that we can vote, Now we will use our voter registration cards to make a change,
But
because we're going to
then
say this is what we want change. And when that person get into the office, they will be forced to change things, because if not, we will change them with our votes.
Okay.
That's how it works.
So how many votes, how many changes we did since 2016? 2 changes, right?
What do you mean, how many changes?
2016, we vote people in, and some of them didn't return back to the National Assembly, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Because we changed them, right, with our votes.
Yep.
Let's see if that's going to make a difference.
Well, it's not just the National Assembly. It's the National Assembly and the president. Those two are the two that hold our country. Those are the people that we vote to get into the office. And when we put them in the office, they need to do the right thing for us. If not, we in the diaspora also need to have the right to vote to be able to make changes.
No, I understand that part. That is a challenge that you and I need to sponsor that bill. I mean, come with other people to sponsor that bill so that happen this time around. I'm on support of that on you. I support.
And when that bill happens, IEC chairman has no right, has nothing to say that, but to execute exactly what the bill says. Yes. What the law says, he does it. He has no right. I cannot have any saying into that other than make us vote. That's all he has to do.
Let's push for that bill.
Yeah.
Diaspora and vote, and our voting power have impact on the election outcome and the leadership we have. But let's not forget, we have to change. Why? Because if change is not coming from the top, we have to bring it to them by force. What I mean by force, I'm not saying, in an awkward way or in a way that doesn't align with the law. But if they see us dictating the economy, creating jobs, what do you think the government would do?
Well,
they will look at themselves and say, we are unfit. Maybe we should be out of there and these people should come in. So we have to build we have to be a legacy of that. You cannot come and say, this political party cannot come and say, I can improve economy. Once they are in existence for 15 years, they haven't done any economic impact in anywhere in the country. How are you going to make me believe you have been an institution for how many years and you couldn't even do anything that is economically viable? And you think I would believe you when you're in office?
You know what? People in the diaspora has a lot of voice. We have a lot of voice. Yeah, if you pick up a phone and call anybody in Gambia, you say anything, they believe in it. If I pick up a phone and call anybody, any friend or family member and said, don't vote for this or go vote for this, they're going to do it. But you know what? We've been sidelined because we can't vote. We can only influence people to vote. But the thing is, at the end of the day, because we've been sidelined, we're the ones that are going to make the change. We can't make the change, so that's why we're using people to make change. But if we can make the change ourselves by having our own voters card that we can vote to make a change, we can elect people and put them in the office to do what we ask them to do. If not, we can quickly change them in 5 years.
Sam, do you believe in politicians?
Do I believe in them?
Yes.
Yes or no? Yes and no. Because yes, I believe in some of them, and I believe that they will do what they say they're going to do. There are some that have the integrity. I don't believe in some of them because I've seen bad examples.
Have politicians have they done anything since the inception that you think they should have done, or have they done something that you are impressed of?
No.
Why would we keep repeating the same thing?
That's why we need to be able to vote so we can get them out.
Okay, but we have been getting them out, right?
Well, no, we've not been getting them out. We allowed Jammeh to stay for 22 years.
Okay, right? Well, we changed him, right?
And finally, in the last minute,
we are from the frying pan to the fire now, right?
Now we are Barrow, right? Now we are Barrow, and he's been there 5 years already. And he's about to start another 5 years. We need to have a 2-term limit. That's why we need to be able to vote to make all of these changes. We need to have a 2-term vote.
Vote is one thing, but we cannot sit down and wait for vote.
And we're not sitting down. Let's think about how many diasporans since 2016, how many diasporans all over the world, they've not been sitting down day and night. They are buying credit for people. They are talking. They are using WhatsApp. They are on Facebook.
I think the point that we are still probably not in sync with, which is good. So our viewers can understand, we are not in sync. We're trying to debate here. You are talking about vote. Yes. To me, vote comes every 5 years.
Yep,
Why
yep.
wait? Right now, we see what happened with President Barrow. He stayed in power again. So we can't do anything about that. We have to give him this 5 years. We have seen the National Assembly members who were not, who were not fit, didn't go back. That's a good thing. The vote has changed that. Now, we're going to have to start to do something. Sponsor bills to make sure that, the Constitution or people with diasporans can vote. Those are two most important. Not only that now, what can we do as citizens, as diasporans, to bring economic viability in our country? We cannot wait for government for that.
Right. We can't wait for that. And some of us, just like I said earlier, I think we're on the same page. We just going in different routes, but I'm bringing you back to the same thing. Some of us would like to invest in Gambia, but a Gambian to go invest in Gambia has been made very difficult for a Gambian to go invest in Gambia. Who made it difficult? Well, the officials in that office that are corrupt, that wants us to bribe them before we can invest, that wants to waste our time. In America, you and I know, we go to an office to find something, we get it today, we get it tomorrow. There's no going back and forth. You apply for something, as long as you have the qualifications, you get it. The Gambia, they make it very difficult for us. Those officials in those offices are the ones I'm talking about. They are the ones that are depriving us from what we need to do. And the president being the chief, the person in charge, the head of the state is the one that need to make that change. And I think he announced that on his last speech that I watched, in what he is going to do in different institutions for people not to be waiting for something for more than 24 hours or 48 hours. He talked along that line, and I like that idea. He is going to do that. I want to watch to see that happen. I want to see that happen. If that happens, then Gambians will be encouraged to go and file a license to invest.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I know we're on the same page now. At least we agree on the fact that that's when need to be given opportunity. That's these folks are not allowing that. That's making investment hard.
Yeah.
So now we need to just find a solution, because 5 years we cannot wait, and we have diaspora population growing, and even 10% of everybody's money, if they come together, if they cannot do individual investment, if they come together, they can make an impact. Now, we gotta speak out. The solution: speak up to the power. National Assembly, they have power. Speak up like we are speaking up now. Let's do something to make sure that we can have opportunity to invest. Because if we don't do that, we sit down in the next couple of years again, hold on to our money. We don't do anything. We're only building house. Okay, building house is okay. Sending money for food is okay, for credits. But we need to do big things to have an impact on our economy. And the diasporans have that power. The people in the Gambia don't.
Yep.
So that's where I'm driving at. The conversation that I'm trying to drive at for moving forward now. We have Barrow now. We can't do anything about it. People voted for him for the next 5 years. Let's see what he's going to do. While he's doing what he's going to do, let's do what we can do. Let's come together. Let's sensitize. I think that is the temporal solution. When the voting comes, we vote them out. I'm online with you on that. And let's fight for changes in legislations to allow constitution and then the diasporans to vote. Those are the most powerful, I think, steps. The other steps I'm not worried about. Those ones, if the TRRC or whatever institutional change. But if those two things happens, then people are empowered. So I'm on the same page with you, but we cannot sit down and wait, because if we sit down and wait again, other nationalists will come and invest, and they will treat our people badly, and they will take the money to their homes. And inflation, it will affect the inflation rate, because they are coming with different currency. I mean, the exchange rates, and you go into all, that's another subject of its own. So it's gonna be, affect us indirectly. Even these fishing trawlers that the Senegalese are having, this is supposed to be Gambian owned. You and I can come and buy a boat.
I've said that so many times that
And you and I buy a boat.
doing that.
You and I can buy a boat and employ Gambians there. Look at how much that would bring in terms of revenue in our country.
Are we going to be able to get a license?
That's what we need to fight for. We will get it. Guess what? If they don't get it, if we don't get it, we expose them on social media. How about that? People in charge.
That's where the problem comes, So we can talk and try to do some things, but if they block us from getting a license, then
so I think we had to attack the root.
Yeah.
Yeah. People who are depriving us, like I spoke to President Barrow 2017, and tell him on his face, Gambians need to be prioritized in this license business. Listen, why are we gonna be afraid of power by telling the truth? You're not causing any problem. You're just saying the truth. What we solely deserve as citizens. If we have a fishing trawler budget, let's go ahead and do it. If we don't have license, it's gonna be a war. It's gonna be a war.
That we are saying, you're saying that that's easy. Is sometimes certain things are easier said than done. But the government do have that power now, by holding the Chinese accountable, going after the Chinese to clean after themselves, giving them citations for violations and heavy fines, and where they can actually close them and shut them down. They can go there and say, you violated what's in the contract. Why is all this dead fish on our seashore? Why are they all there? A violation that can require the government, that can make the government take that power in their hand and say, guess what? Your contract is out. You violated you breached the contract. As a breach of contract, we're going to terminate your contract. We're going to get Gambians to take this fishing role, Gambians to do business in our own sea. Very simple. Government can do that, rather than you and I trying to apply for a license.
But then government can do that, but we have to have people also line up ready to do these things. But our people are not thinking on that direction. How many Gambians have you spoke to who want to buy a fishing trawler and they can afford it?
Right. The affordability is one thing, but the willingness to do it, yes, absolutely. I'm sure there are Gambians out there that have been crying to go out to the fish. I lived in Bigelow. I taught in Bigelow for 4 years. I've seen people going out every day, going out to do fishing and get fish out. That's how they survive. But with these fishing trawlers out there, the Chinese are killing all the fish that they don't want. Down the road, over time, it's going to really impact us big time. Yeah. Right now, the cost of fish is already very high. The government need to do something.
I think we have to our country situation, it doesn't matter the distance. We have to we have to take charge. And if anybody want to stop us, we can. In this environment now, you have legislation, you have laws, you have we have courts. We can take any case against the government. Yeah. If it is in a way to block the citizens, they know that.
Yep.
So, but if we stay mute and say, oh, they did us, they dupe us, and we stay mute and discouraged and are not investing, and we are depriving our people opportunities for growth. Yep. And I think people should muscle up now. Conscious people, thinking at a high level should muscle up and then just don't talk now. Let's do the action.
Yep, that's why I encourage Gambians in my speeches and all the audios are released. I always encourage Gambian. You see something that's wrong. There are certain things that are very obvious and people are doing in Gambia that really against the law or against certain things, I say take them to court. Just take the people to the court. But you know what? At the same time, I think of other things. Again, going back to the same thing, I say corruption in the institutions. If the court is corrupt, people are not going to get the justice.
Again,
and I think we've seen that too.
Corruption starts with us.
Corruption.
It comes from the bottom. It's from the bottom. I mean, up, down, but it's within us as well. Fighting it, we can fight it within us by being our brothers and equal brothers and sisters keeper, and reminding us that let's do things for the benefit of our nation. Let's put our nation's interest first, and hold the people accountable, like what Madi Jobata did.
Yep.
Many people who cannot do that.
Yeah.
And the government, when he did that, the civil society, what they did with the president, they went after him.
Yep.
You cannot say something about someone who said your government is corrupt, because there's a proven record. Even US doubt transparency and accountability of this government.
The US Embassy have announced that a long time ago about that. So in Gambia.
It's not something that is hidden. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what we have to do. I mean, like, people are doing it. So I think at this point is we just pushed it and fight corruption. Corruption, it's not gonna be, it's a tooth and nail, because people's survival are on it. You gotta understand, it's not a one-day thing. So let's push the bill and this is about our National Assembly holding them accountable. You have a representative from your country, your area. I have a representative from Baribu. Let's call them. Each and every one among us have representation. We go after their tail. Make sure, they push for these bills. If the bill is not passed, let them bring it back. I don't even know what state the bills are. Mm-hmm. And let's also hold the government accountable. People who stole, who took our money, that's not treasury, let them go to jail.
Yeah,
that one we can do, because you know what? Those lands that Madi Jobaru was saying that was given to the ministers, we go after their neck. They have Twitter page, they have Facebook page. Give us our money. Give us our money. If you send them those messages, they will feel uncomfortable. But Gambian people, we just scared and sit down and listen.
No, a lot of people
will always be better. But we need to hold our people accountable, not insult, pressure them, make them know that we are not fools. That's all. But we're not doing that. That's why we're having all this problem.
Well, there are people doing that. We are doing that. And there are people that are doing that, they are doing that. So if you look across the social media.
Yeah, they were doing that, but I'm just saying we are not doing it as a coordinated, coordinated effort. Like how Madi is doing. Mm-hmm. We need to do that. It's not against any particular person or government. The truth must come out, and we need to see evidence. And once we have evidence, freedom of information, we go after the source. Investigative journalism. This department, pressure them. They would know that people are not fools, and next time they will act cautiously. And the government, if they cannot, let them increase pay rate. Find a way to get funding so their workers can sustain their own expenses, if that's what is causing the corruption. Now, and businesses, put them higher fees. Whoever they have a act of corruption, fines. That's it. I don't know why it's so difficult, to fight corruption if you really want to fight it from top down, bottom. And citizens need to know that there's no shortcut to life. The only shortcut to life is to be dead. If you're dead, that's the shortcut. There's no more. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, an easier way to end the corruption, really. We can end this conversation here, but an easier way, we will not get to the bottom of this because there is a lot to say about this. And,
but we can end up here. It's already 2 hours already.
The easier way to end corruption starts with the president. It is the president. If any country, if the president knows what to do,
yeah,
really knows what to do, because he's the only person that can do what he wants and nobody can challenge
I
him.
think he knows what to do. He just don't want to do what he needs to do.
Well, there are certain things that he doesn't know. I can tell you that. There are certain things
You
he
cannot be in
doesn't know.
office 5 years.
There are certain things that he does know, but he has to be able to be the one that should stand up and do it. That's the way to end corruption.
Sam, even if you are 1 year in presidency, 2 years, this is God-given, God-given, what do you call it? God-given position that you get educated, not only from people around you, but spiritually you get educated. So there's no way that this man doesn't know. Just don't want to do it because you don't want to hurt somebody or for political reason or interest.
There are certain things that come from experience. There are certain things you have to experience it to really know how it works. All of those are there. So that's why in the world, like I said, no one knows everything. If you know one thing, you know one thing. Get people that knows the other things and surround yourself with those that know something.
Let me tell you.
So that you will do the right thing.
Politicians, a calculated move. Anywhere in the US, France, calculated move. I know that when we had this fire incident here, politicians, any move they do, they consult. Gee, how are we gonna do this one and see the interest first themselves? So don't say that they don't know. They have consultant. Hey, gee, we cannot go that route. It might hurt this. It might hurt that. They talk at a high level. We the citizens are there walking around, keep dying for them, but they are at a high level in their own political interest. So let's stop being fools and make sure that we hold them accountable. Tell them we are not fools.
Absolutely. We're never going to be fools, and we're not fools. But it's a long battle.
Yeah, it's a long
battle that
but I hope they are listening though, because if they're listening, they probably will cheer up and know that we are not fools.
Oh yeah, definitely. From what we speak and what we speak from experience, anybody that listens to us, they know we are talking real business. We're talking something that really need to happen. Now, is it going to happen in our country? That's
but
up to them.
I think it's going to happen. Gambians going to come to a point that we're going to face the reality. We're going to face it. Either we do it or we stay where we are.
Yep.
And the home is always going to be home. So if we fix it, we fix it for us. If we don't fix it, we don't fix it for ourselves and our generation to come. What is our choice?
Yeah. But anyway, let's wrap this up
so
now.
Much, yeah. I think it has been I think
we will
I
never
hope
finish
really get a lot of ideas from this and contribution. They can comment on our page and we're every Sunday. So thank you for your time, Sam and Alas and then Njaka and then Famara. We miss you guys. Come back next time, and then we have more discussion on other topics that pertain to our lives. Yep. This is very interesting. Again, we are not expert, we are just here to to put our time in for the well-being of humanity, Africa, Gambia,
in our country.
Yeah. So whoever can come share our shows, then it's all welcome. Sam, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thank you, brother, man, and I'm sure we'll catch up later. So take it easy, and you have a wonderful evening. All right.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Thank